Welcome back to Only Football. Max Urbamler, Michael Holder. How you doing, buddy boy?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just all right.
No,
Just okay.
it was a good betting day, so I'm
You had a
happy.
good day.
And it was a really entertaining goal fest.
My goodness, like what the hell? That was. We can kind of skip over Napoli, Frankfurt. I will say that I did like Frankfurt on the outside at home. You know, especially after last year, what they did in the Europa League.
It's not the Champions League. It's
No.
not the Champions League.
No.
I was always confident with Napoli.
Yeah.
Um, they're just in fine form and probably the best form in Europe and
100%.
arguably the best team in Europe.
Yep.
Just been so dominant in every competition. And
yeah, as I was saying before they scored twice. They scored twice today. They're averaging a goal 27 minutes after in the group stage. And there's 6 matches.
Which is
Liverpool's in that group too, by the way.
And they topped them and spanked them, scored 4 on them.
Yeah.
No, but great job by Napoli. Yeah, nothing really to talk about that game, and well, probably the tie, because Milani's gone for the next game, right? So,
yeah, I mean that's a really great result for them. Okay, and then Liverpool, they got a blinding start thanks to a really nice finish from Nunez in the fourth, and then a great assist from Courtois on the 14th. And people are like, ooh, a Liverpool back.
no, just not back, but maybe do they only turn it on for Champions League this year? But
right.
No, they collapse. Especially when you score 2 goals against Real Madrid at Anfield and you have the crowd behind you like it was rocking.
No shit.
But
Vinny sat them all down.
But yes, Real scoring 5 minutes later was very key to
what a goal though! Like that shot was a fucking rocket.
And the whole play, it was dribble in tight space just to create a half opening and just drill it.
Yeah, well, he did it twice, right? He did it on the layoff, and then when he got it back, he still managed to open up that space for some player.
Yeah, all you need is a little room with him, and that just got the Real Madrid train rolling. I was a bit doubtful when Alba went down.
Me too. I was like, that's a big loss. And Nacho came in. Nacho serves a purpose, but I was like, yeah, I said the same thing. Like, oh, that's a big loss.
And it seemed to just inspire them. I think it was 2-1 at the time when he went down. And
then Allison returned the favor. So, you know what, Courtois, we've been through so much together. We played. I've never beaten you before in my life, at least not with Real. Here's one back.
Gifted.
What the fuck was that, dude? Like Vinny he turned his back too.
Because he thought he was going to drill it out, right? Not pass it right off of him, and you could tell just the commentators were shocked to win, and I saw it going right away. I'm like, why are they celebrating? And then they said, and it's in. And after the celebration, it was quiet. You could actually only hear the Real Madrid fans.
Oh shit!
And when you get Anfield that quiet, you're doing something right. And especially to get the 2-2 before half, all the momentum with them. It's especially with the season Liverpool's having. They got down on themselves early, and
complete doubt. I mean, that third goal too. I mean, the third goal. I mean, the second one obviously is just a horror mistake, but the third one is just extremely egregious.
It's just
as you said, they're making right in, like nobody picks him up.
It's just the fact that if you should at least have
it's staggered.
Yes, you should at least have a box with your 4 primary, defensive-minded, headed people who are good in the air.
Yeah,
right. That they can, there's 4 of them, spaced out so that they each have the ball comes here. This is mine. I'm going to attack it this way, head it out this way. But there's 4 people in the line, so unless if the ball's going in that line,
why would they do that?
Even if it is, you don't need 4 people in that line. I can maybe understand 2. That's why if you have the box, right? You have 2 in this line, 2 in this line, 2 in this line. You have 2 everywhere.
Yeah, it makes it hard to pick someone out. I mean, of course, Meltdown's just going to run into that space.
And he came from the far post, and he just ran along the 6-yard box.
8 yards out,
just boom.
Yeah,
easy header. Great set piece design. It looked like a set play because they obviously watched the film. seeing how Liverpool defend these situations and said, if they defend this way, we're going to attack this way. And it seemed like a set play that was just straight out of the training ground. Or just heads up play by Modric to view that Militao run really quickly and put it in there with pace. I don't know. But Liverpool made it look like it was a training ground. Like, you know.
For Real, yeah, sure. Confidence boost.
And once that goal went in, it was done. You could feel it was done.
Liverpool did nothing that half. And then honestly, like the fourth goal, own goal, it's still sloppy defending. And then the fifth, Fabinho turns it over. Really bad turnover to Modric, and then jogs back. And Benzema just did Alisson.
Took his time.
Slotted it home. That was, yeah, it was shocking. I mean, is there a conversation to fire Klopp here?
I think you have to give him the season.
Do you give them the summer? Do you give them the summer? They need
I think they should. But
they've been saying they needed a midfielder for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
I'd say 2 years. Harvey Elliott was coming up, but it's still a really young player at the time, and has a horror injury as well. So that's one down. Like development's pretty much stunted.
Well, still it's Curtis Jones.
Where's he been? He was hurt for a bit too, but
he's
looking great.
They're just relying on the youth to be able to fill the gap.
Should have been down in summer though.
You still need some veterans around. Obviously,
Absolutely.
You have Milner, but he shouldn't be playing at this point. He should be giving up the 7, taking his role as just a veteran, an older vet, just to keep the locker room professional, making sure the young guys aren't doing too much partying, or making sure they show up to training on time, every session on time. Those roles are obviously important, but since the summer they went out and got 3 forwards.
Nunez, Gakpo.
Oh, well, I guess Diaz from the year before, but yeah, they needed midfield, and they said, let's just extra load on the top, and 2 of those guys are always going to be sitting now. Right? Obviously, he's playing all 3, but then you got Jota, Firmino, and Diaz on the bench, and you're rotating between 6 guys, right? Preferably 5. Firmino is, just a club favorite. I guess he's still good with a different type of element, not hold up play, but link up play with the midfields, where he drops down low to give, Salah, used to be Mane, but whoever's on the other wing now, room to run. But
it's bad.
It is bad. It's they had 2 good wins in the league, turning it around, but it is a long way to 4th. It's not too long for them, because I think they have 2 games in hand on Newcastle, right? And
I'll tell you right now. They have 1 game on Newcastle, which will make up this weekend. They're 6 points back with 1 game in hand.
Okay.
But that said, they still have Fulham and Brighton to jump, which they should. But it's Spurs.
It's Spurs. It's 2
now.
games. That's what it was. It's 2 games on someone. I knew it was someone.
Yeah, Newcastle's not even in the top 4 anymore. Okay. Well, a little catastrophic.
I think they have a chance in the tie. Liverpool. It's over.
No, it's done.
Yeah. Away goal rule, it definitely would have been, but
100%.
I missed away goal.
How dare they?
I know.
How fucking dare they? I was just kind of glitching out today when I was watching. I'm like, oh, there's no more aggregate anymore. Yeah. Like for a second, I was like, so wait, they're up. It was like 4-2 at the time. Like, but they're up 4-2, and this means nothing. I was like, oh no, they just took away goals, which isn't right anyway. Yeah, what a terrible decision. Anyway, I don't want to get back on that. I complained about that all of last year. Okay, so 5 previews today. We have going to be Leipzig City, United Barca, Arsenal, Leicester Arsenal, Spurs Chelsea, and United again for the EFL Cup final. Late,
11 o'clock.
11:30 on Sunday. So let's get into Leipzig and City. Leipzig have turned it around a bit. I think since Rose has come in, I think they're sitting 5th right now. It's really tight.
Just
really,
outside, yeah.
But it's really tight. It's like three-way tie for first. And Leipzig's not too far off.
They have like 39.
I believe so. And 43 the lead. And Nkuku's back. he's back.
But
He
is.
may not start. I wouldn't necessarily rush him in. I wouldn't. I would actually just kind of use his pace and energy, especially considering it's his only second. It will only be his second appearance. So I wouldn't start him. But they're looking good, and Laporte and De Bruyne both are not
And
coming.
Stones.
And Stones. Laporte and De Bruyne are sick. I'm not sure if Stones is sick. I think he's actually injured. He is actually injured. But yeah, I mean, like, do those two, especially De Bruyne being out, does that change things for you? I mean, for me, it's worth a punt on throwing something at Leipzig. But City just need to, I think, go in there and be happy with a draw. Like, don't force the win.
Yeah, I think what they should be concerned with is just not conceding, because they've been having trouble with that lately. I don't think they had one clean sheet in the last 6 games. I don't know. It's not that great.
It was one of the last 5, and that was the FA Cup against Arsenal.
And I don't know. I thought they had not turned the corner. Obviously, the season's still long, and they've done it for the last 5 years, so we shouldn't ever write them. I'm not trying to write them out, but just overall consistency since August to October.
All season.
But it seems like not teams have figured out Holland, but they need secondary scoring. And even when Holland was scoring, it wasn't like this. I felt as though they were trying a new style to, find the central striker, because he can make runs in behind. But now he isn't really in the build-up play. He always has the fewest touches.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel as though they're not getting the most out of him anymore.
Well, the teams aren't giving him space to run. Frankly, I don't know why they ever really were. Even like, how do you really find yourself getting caught out in the break? But early in the season, like, there were a lot of times, and you see a lot of their goals too, where it's like somehow he's just he's running with like a bunch of pitch in front of him, and that's just not happening anymore. It was odd to me that it kind of ever was. I understand if you're chasing a match, but there'd be times in the first half when maybe you're only down 1-0 and somehow this guy like breakaways and whatnot, and now teams are sitting back real deep.
Is that also on Pep though? Because City, it's always possession, slow build up, and then try and break you down in the final third with quick touch passing. Like every now and then, they just got to throw a long ball in, right? Try and play direct.
But I think that's what teams are like definitely cutting out. Is that like why even expose yourself to that?
They just drop back to half.
They have been less like since the restart. You've seen like goals kind of dry up for Holland. Yeah, he bagged a hat trick. He scored here and there, and it's just it just seems like teams are just not letting that happen. And I think Holland's a great signing. I'm not really for this is he making City worse? Maybe there's some growing pains here, and maybe this will come together further next season.
Or even later this season.
Hopefully for their sake, later this season. But maybe he's just not quite ready for this intricate build-up play. Whereas maybe it's time to see a little more Alvarez
for the build-up.
Yeah,
and then Pep staying tried and true to his colors and not trying to adapt.
But also why not even kind of maybe bring back that false 9 a little bit again?
Then you're not playing Haaland.
I know. I'm not saying he doesn't have to start every game.
If you want to win.
What? Then that's what I'm saying. If you want to win.
Do you think Haaland should start this weekend?
Listen, Pep likes to overthink shit. Obviously, right? We've seen this, but maybe bringing back that false 9, keeping teams on their toes more, and it's not like it's just going to be Haaland. It's going to be Haaland. We're going to do this 4-3-3, and that's it. You've seen a bit of a 4-2-3-1, but take away Haaland every now and then, and give that a go. They have Bournemouth coming up this weekend. Maybe not a good game. Maybe not a bad game to
try it out.
Or switch it up. Obviously, this is a match where it's like you can. I would say tomorrow. He's great in Champions League though. Are you going to drop Haaland for this?
No, not for Champions League. You can't. With the Beats, a big signing. You can't just you have to.
I don't know. You have 2 legs though. You have 2 legs, and
Yeah, you want them on the field for all 180 minutes if possible. Why only
they've
cap
just
his
been a
time
little
to
bit.
90?
They've been a little bit stunted. And I'm just thinking, maybe the fact that you are the favorite here, quite heavy favorite, and you do have 2 legs, like maybe you can tinker with 60 minutes of a false nine or 60 minutes of Alvarez. Maybe Bournemouth is the match for that. Honestly, I'm sure you're just going to see Holland start every match anyway. But
As you should. If you're Pep,
Mhm.
this is not like this is something you don't overthink, right? It's like, would you rather like if you tie or not Dortmund, if you tie Red Bull 0-0 and you don't start Holland, what's gonna be your criticism? Why didn't you start Holland?
Right.
Because you didn't score. But if you tie 1-1 and you start Holland, even though Holland doesn't score, that's more like
it is what it is.
You know
Which
what
is
I mean?
where I think this game's going. I think it's going to
Right. It's just like, okay, like you tie 1-1, you could have probably probably had the better chance of probably could have won. But if you start Holland and tie 1-1, even if he doesn't score, you don't look bad as a manager.
No.
But if you tie 0-0 and you don't start Holland, you're getting criticized.
Do you think Pep cares about that? He's been criticized many times in the past.
I think he
about
overthinks in that way.
Yeah, he does. But I mean, like, do you think he overthought the Chelsea City final and he got burnt? So, I think him maybe, getting criticized for not winning at Leipzig in the first leg when they can easily go through is kind of a water off a duck's back. Something that he wouldn't necessarily concern himself with.
Yeah, but you're also getting pressure from the owner
if
saying,
he wants to
we bought you this toy and you're not playing with it.
He's been playing with it, right? Like you can dink around, and it's not to say. And it's also,
but not in a stage like this, because you brought him to win the Champions League. Right? You won the league's 4 to 5 years. You're running Holland in to get that missing piece. So if you don't start him in this competition, you're getting criticized. That's what I mean. You can tinker with this in the Premier League, but not in the Champions League.
Okay. Well, maybe Saturday at Bournemouth they mulled that over.
Yeah, he's definitely should be starting tomorrow.
There's no Champions League next week, right?
No, because I think is it Nations League?
No. What?
Or is that late March? There's the finals, right? The Nations League is still around. It's coming soon, Max. I hate to break it to you, but I think it's March. March is around the corner.
Fuck you.
I think it is, man. I think it's like the 5th or 12th or something like that. It's around March break.
Wow, I don't even have that in like my highlighted competitions.
Well, just see when the gap is in EPL. Actually, I can do that too.
I got it.
Regardless, I don't know. I'm thinking.
March 4th, March 5th, 6th.
I think we were both thinking a tie for this game, right?
I'm gonna go 1-1. Yeah, it's the end of March.
End of March, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Because they were talking about Modric not retiring from international football when they were blowing him out. I had nothing to talk about. And I was like, all right, yeah, the Nations League semis and finals are still coming.
1-0 for me. Shabashai into Werner. And Vardiol, they're just a solid team. There's a lot of fun talent team. And I'm looking forward to Leipzig. Like I know a lot of people don't like Leipzig.
Just the Germans.
And I get that. I get why. But you know what and I know there's a lot of parity in the Bundesliga this year. Finally. But in terms of teams that I think will end up hanging around and over time building foundation and retaining money and hence retaining players, I think Leipzig's probably your best bet.
That's become like the next Dortmund.
Yeah, and I wish Dortmund
did so.
Yeah, not to the degree they do. They're still trying to tie down Bellingham, but
he's probably gonna leave.
It would be something though if Bellingham's so young, man. He's played 200 caps. He's not even 20. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
It's a lot of football.
Okay. United Barca.
All right, I'm gonna go 2-1 City now. I was gonna do 1-1.
That's fair. I'm not really disputing like a City win. I'm really not going against it, but I'm gonna stick with 1-0. United Barca, and really nice performance last week at Camp Nou. I was the ref was atrocious, like a fucking joke, like just soft bullshit all game long for Barca. It was insane.
That was probably the most exciting game of the week.
It was a really good match.
It was the best, better than any Champions League game that week.
I agree.
I
agree. Bias.
And entertaining, and very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of chances both ways.
Yep.
good quality ball. The more I watch Barcelona, it's weird, but I'm getting more and more like on the Gavi's overrated.
Oh yeah,
I'm getting on that train. Like he's just like a bitch. Like he is. He has the facial. Like he is very talented. Obviously, he wouldn't be playing at 18. Is he 17 or 18?
oh, he's got to be 18.
I think he's 18, and like to be starting for Barcelona. Obviously, I know he's good, but I think he's kind of stunted. Obviously, his size is a disadvantage, but if you're that talented, it doesn't really add to get that far. It can't be that much of a disadvantage, but I think teams are figuring him out. And on defensively, he's still very immature and I guess late. He's not decisive. Like he makes his decision late, and because of that, he gets himself into trouble. He still has mature that way, but that was a dumb foul for his yellow when he grabbed because there was 3 Barca defenders around him. Like he was gone, but he was going into help. So there was no need to do that, especially if you knew going into the game you're starting and you already have a yellow and you're gonna miss the next game. But other than that,
Busquets is gonna be back. Pedri's out though. He got hurt on the weekend.
He got hurt, yes. No, he got hurt in that game.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was early. It was
like
first
the
half.
20
Yeah, it was in the first half.
Yeah.
Those are big losses. Busquets back. So what? Busquets, De Jong, Cassier.
Yeah.
Is
Dembele gonna be?
I don't think so. I don't think so, but we'll see. I think if he is gonna be back, it might be, bench cameo, or they rush him.
So who are they gonna play on the other wing?
Rafinha, Torres, Fati or Torres.
I would start. Why are they underusing Fati? He's actually really good.
I like Fati a lot. He's just fallen off. Like obviously he was injured and he hasn't come back quite the same. But I think this is probably a game that you use him in over Torres personally. But Torres is also kind of coming back mentally. He was saying that he had he was really really down himself. I guess some online abuse is really getting to him and shit.
Because he came back he's
got on that. Well, he's not living up to his price tag. I think one of his quotes was like, "I'm not at fault for how much they paid for me." I'm like, well, no, you're right, but also like, it's a bit weak-minded.
To you, eh?
I mean, it is, man. It's like, fuck, dude. But yeah, I guess it's got to be Louis, Rafinha, and Fati for me. The midfield, as much as I do like Frankie de Jong, Busquets can spray a ball, and I like Kessie. I like them all. I do like them all. I just don't know. I don't know about it. It seems a little stunted to me, losing both Pedri and Gavi. So
Gavi to suspension, but
Sabitzer and
Weghorst.
Sabitzer and that guy can't put the ball in the net. He's really slow.
No, he's the defensive mid now. I'm telling you, he is.
He played number 10 against Barca, and it worked. That was to shake them up. He fully said so. They were in the tunnel before the match, and Weghorst said to De Jong, like, "I'm coming to disrupt you," because Ten Hag was going to deploy him as a number 10 and have Rashford play up top, and it did work to a point. I mean, I would say United were the better team that match.
I would too. I think Barca did have their chances, and their chances were quality, but a lot of times it was just man-made mistakes, right? And that's the risk, not the risk. It's calculated risk at a ball, right? So
I guess they're setting over-unders on how many times you sneeze per episode. Like 2.5 easy.
I didn't take analogy.
No, that's all right. No, I apologize. I'm just going to start making bets with myself.
But it is calculated risk, and it's knowing, the area you're in and the surroundings, and knowing you have to play quick to get out of it. But what if you get out of it, you're going to have all this space to just deploy into the next phase. And you saw it on the second goal, like, they tried to play it out quick. It was just a bad pass. But after the bad pass happened, you saw how far the defenders and the midfields were. There was a huge gap between the lines.
Our second goal?
No, Barca's second
Barca's,
goal. Yeah. With the turnover, and then they just gave it to
who did? Casemiro turned over.
Was it Shaw or Casemiro?
Casemiro turned over.
And there was a huge gap. But most of the time they're able to play out of it.
It was just a really bad turn. Like I think like if you look at like if Ten Hag looks at that, it's like that's not something that's going to happen very often.
Yes.
Right?
We also know it's the risk you take playing that to get an advantage somewhere else on the field.
Really savvy play by Lewandowski. Let that run though. That was good.
He's one of the best strikers.
I know it's great. I know he scores goals without even touching the ball.
It's probably the third best striker of our generation, right? Maybe fourth. Would you put him below Zlatan or above?
I put him above. I prefer Zlatan overall. Just
you put him above. So yeah, he's behind Suarez and Ronaldo. Or is Ronaldo not a striker? I think he's better than Guerrero.
Anyway, that's that's a list episode. We have to do a feature. We can plan for a feature. I'm all this shit over. I never have these ready. Okay. But I really like. I think it's gonna be raucous. It's going to be absolutely raucous.
I think you guys are gonna win.
I think we're gonna win too. I think we're gonna win 90. I don't think this is going extra time. Even if we go down, the team, like Ten Hag, has really changed the mentality of these players. He needs more backing, and the team needs to be filled out. I'm excited to see Sabitzer and Casemiro play together, which I think he'll go with. If he started Fred over Sabitzer, I wouldn't be shocked, but I think he's looking to use Sabitzer, especially with Eriksen out. And frankly, I know Eriksen was very important for us this season, and it is a big loss, and it shouldn't have been the fact that Eriksen got injured that we brought in Sabitzer, but it was more a player like Sabitzer who is better on the ball than Fred, but is also more physical than Fred and Eriksen that I wanted.
I don't think he's more physical than Fred.
I think Fred's more tenacious. But Fred can get bounced.
Yes, but I think he goes in there. Sabitzer, I don't think always goes in there. Maybe under Ten Hag with inspiration, but from the times at Red Bull and the very little time he played at Bayern, he doesn't really get into it. I guess he didn't need to with the style of play and the players around him. But Premier League,
I'm just saying,
I would like.
He's the balance between Fred and Eriksen that I actually want. Yeah. That I wanted, and so I'm excited to see probably those two play. And even if we go down, like the mentality's changed. We come back. We did it last week at Camp Nou.
Yeah.
It was nice that we scored immediately after conceding, but we did, and unreal. Rashford's like fucking unreal on this guy. It's crazy, and it's really nice to see. Like even just the way we move the ball, we play football now. I remember like losing my shit on Guy on like one of Guy's last episodes for like completely slating Ollie. Like I wasn't like defending Ollie to the end, but like he was giving Ollie no credit. He was absolutely right. I mean, Ollie was fucking god awful. And it was like, there's like a man management thing that, myself and others would say is like he's a good man manager because he came in and people, like a lot of players after Mourinho were just kind of so disheartened. But he coddled them. And no one's safe under 10. If you're not fucking performing, you're getting benched for a minute, okay? Until your replacement drops the ball. Like look at Luke Shaw and Malacia like this season. It's nice, it's good. Like Shaw's got it locked down again, but Malacia's young. And he's still getting time. We have so many games to play. He's still getting time.
Especially when Shaw's playing
center back. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I like us,
by 2. You're going by 2. You have to look like you're going by 2. I was going 2-1 United, but you look like you're going 3-0, 2-0.
I'm debating between either.
I knew it was.
But I'm also being like Barca's like they're a talented team, but fuck man, defensively we're just so sound. Martinez is gonna be back as well. I'm gonna go. Fuck, is
you want to go
high?
3?
I do. I really do. I want to get. I'll go 2. I'll go 2. I'll go 2 now.
I'll do 2-1.
Okay, let's move on. We'll come back to United to close with the show, and let's.
What a difference a year makes, eh? I think this time last year, like.
What a difference a manager makes. Mike. Just think about.
Yeah.
Casemiro was lucky. He was hell bent on getting Dion, but Casemiro was lucky, and fuck, what a blessing he's been. But it's the manager.
This time last year, you were saying sell Rashford while we can.
Oh, fucking right, I was.
And now you're saying he's the man. What a man! I love it. I love it.
He completely turned around. Like, his attitude last year was appalling.
Yeah.
and a manager like Ten Hag is managing him, and has also completely changed his mentality.
In form, thank God I still captain him.
He is in form, but like, even at the beginning of the season, like, he's coming along. There were steps. It was gradual, and then ever since the restart, he's just been completely on fire.
Bruno's found himself again under Ten Hag.
Yep. And you know what? Like, you can say a lot about Ronaldo. I heard people at the bar say, like, praising United, but then, like, ever since Ronaldo's left, it's been night and day. If Ronaldo ate a little more and like was happy to come off the bench, obviously rather have Ronaldo than Weghorst. There's no fucking question. Ronaldo would be starting right now. Marcel's always hurt, but it was a gradual buildup since the beginning of the season. We were steadily getting better as a team, and removing Ronaldo has obviously given a lot of freedom to, I guess, a couple others, but. What was he like? Was he really just the issue? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stubborn. Don't want to admit that, but I don't necessarily think so personally. Okay, Leicester Arsenal. Leicester's at home. Fucking huge comeback and last minute winner against Villa last week.
Yes,
that was massive. Crazy. That was massive because they dropped points there, and it's like they're really shook.
Yes, because it would have been 4 and 5. They dropped points if they dropped there.
Yeah. Lucky. It was like it was
a
great shot. Great shot from Jorginho.
For that goal to happen, I was glad it happened on Martinez. Like that was the only like saving grace.
Yeah.
Personally, like I don't care personally if Arsenal win the league. I think it's just funnier to see their fans, almost win the league and collapse at the end. That would be funnier, but like I have no personal preference. It'd be actually kind of nice to see someone besides City win it.
Yeah, no, I feel it. And then City wouldn't win 3 in a row, and United would still be the only team. But maybe United can do it. It's too much. It's too much for United. There's too much going on.
Yeah,
there's too much.
If they had that win against Arsenal, they definitely were in it. But
you could say if we didn't draw Palace or didn't draw Leeds as well, there's 2 extra points, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But you guys are just not cruising to top 4, but a good chance to like solidify it early on in the season. And that's the focus. If you're still in Europa League and FA Cup, like then you could focus more on that, right? And sacrifice some key player time in
later down the stretch in the
Premier. Yeah, that's the main goal. But top 4 was always the goal at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Realistically.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I thought there was too much work to do.
In a deep run in Europa League to maybe have that avenue to Champions League, but now you got it all. You have it all.
Anyway, back to Arsenal, because we will get back to United. I didn't bring that up. That was Mike.
That was me. Yes, I know. It's your episode. Have
fun. But that was a massive win, and Leicester in really good form up until United last week. 8 goals in the previous 2 matches.
They still played well.
They played. Yeah, it's true. It's true in that first half. I mean, can people stop telling us to replace him, please? 2 massive saves. In the second half, they got completely again. Yes. Ten Hag just like changes that front 4. Takes off Garnacho for Sancho. Sancho looks great. And Sancho's playing to the left, and they moved Bruno right out to the right. But that was my fault. Yeah, they're looking okay.
Well, definitely better than the beginning of the season.
It's been up and down, honestly, but it was down before that Villa comeback and before that Spurs comeback. When they off the restart again, it was a terrible start of the season, and they closed before the World Cup and they came back from the World Cup terribly, and then they picked up those 2 wins, and then looked decent against Jan in the first half.
I mean, Nacho. I was thinking of picking him up. He's looking good.
Yeah, I know. I remember a couple years ago, last half of the season, 2 years ago, he was on fire. Could be a repeat, but I don't know. Talking about this game,
I think Arsenal get a boost from the City draw.
Mhm.
It's a force.
I know
Unfortunately,
that mentally, like that's
it's a
that's
boost.
huge. That's a massive boost. Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, like this is the game against City. Like if we can beat them here, we get the 8-point lead or whatever it is again, and then we can like take this out. And then the big match at home, they still played well. I won't say they didn't play well against City, but they still got the loss. So it's like, are we there yet? There's kind of the doubts in the back of your head when you think about it. And it's like, okay, well, we lost this game, but we still have the game in hand. If we win that, we're 3 points up. Let's take care of business at Villa. And start of the game, it looked like it was a hangover still. It's like, is this
like the complete class? I know that the late winner like really changes the mentality. Honestly, if they drop points to Villa, I'm thinking to myself like, I don't think you're coming back from this. Now it's like this is the like for me this is the one. If 6 points Villa and Leicester away is nice.
Yeah.
It's a very nice.
I
mean, it's the best return, but it's like those are two tough matches after a really bad stretch, and just thinking to myself like, could that be it? Because afterwards, Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, Leeds,
Everton.
Oh, Everton. Yeah, Everton actually right after. Some favorable fixtures. I mean, as is this, but I mean they're going to be favored against most at this point, right? But
yeah.
I just want to see.
I think it is a tough one.
Partey.
I still think Arsenal get it done. I think it's a 2-1.
Not a tight one, yeah.
2-1.
They've had a lot of those games this year. They've had a lot of those matches.
They're not keeping the clean sheets lately, but they're still scoring, right? And it's balanced scoring too, right?
Has been all season,
and that's what it is. And
that's where you look at City, and like it's kind of difference. It was always balanced scoring for City, for years.
Yes.
Obviously, Aguero would be leading the line a lot, but he was hurt a lot from down the stretch. And
you're getting goals for everyone. De Bruyne, Mahrez,
Foden,
Bernardo, Gundogan. Again. It was like every 2 months, someone else on the team would start scoring.
Right.
And getting hot. But
that's what Arsenal's been doing this year.
If it's not Holland, it's scarce.
A little bit. We had some pickings.
And De Bruyne is not playing every game. It's tough, but yeah, I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. What do you think?
I do like that scoreline. I do. But I'm gonna up you one. I'm gonna go 3-1.
Another 98th goal.
Yeah, maybe like a later, like 80th after, just to seal it.
I thought the ref was gonna blow the whistle when
Martinelli.
When Vieira got it. I was like, okay, it's cleared, but then he just kept it going. I was like, oh, maybe he has Arsenal winning the. Maybe he has Arsenal. Oh, maybe he has Martinelli. I was thinking Arsenal is win the league, and he's like, any goal difference can help. Yeah. Any goal difference.
We're just degenerates. Okay. Then let's
Chelsea Spurs. Chelsea Spurs.
Yep. Why do I feel like we're missing one? No, we're not.
We're not. The Chelsea Spurs.
Chelsea Spurs. United, Newcastle. So Spurs at home. Chelsea is great. You can't just be firing a manager for 3 months and spending.
It comes back to they should have never fired Tuchel.
Sure.
That's what it is. It's like you can't replace Tuchel with Potter. I'm sorry. If you're Chelsea, you can't.
I didn't hate the Potter appointment.
But
I think firing Tuchel.
It was a downgrade.
It was premature.
I think it was a downgrade.
Well, there could have been an upswing, and there still could be. I think for me, it's just it was just premature on firing Tuchel. But they were playing. Honestly, man,
were they playing worse than they are now? Were they playing worse than they are now?
Okay,
no.
All right, okay. It's a younger manager who's also has had a whole bunch of new players brought in, which is good for him. But there's also players that
he didn't want.
Fucking, how much was spent on Tuchel over the summer? 200-300.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all these other players.
It wasn't like
there's gonna be growing pains. He's a young manager. I'm not saying it works out. I'm just saying you can't fucking fire him. Honestly, you cannot fire him.
Why not? What if they tie their next 2 games? And they lose in Champions League? What do you do as an owner there?
Okay.
You seriously have to look at firing him?
No.
You do.
Dude, that's such a mess.
You do.
They just spent $300 million on him. That's such a mess, dude. And they just spent $200-300 million on the guy.
So he gets the rest of the season no matter what.
I honestly, I think you give him until at least till the next October, no matter what.
No matter. That's
And
tough.
like what I'm saying, no matter what, it's like I'm not expecting Chelsea to like truly drop into the bottom half and like solidify.
No, but what if they barely make Conference League or they don't even make Conference League?
Neither did Arsenal under Arteta 1 year.
They made Conference League, didn't they?
No, there was a year they finished like 9th or 10th. They might finish 10th. Like 2 years
Arteta?
ago? Was it 2 years ago? I think last year they had no European football.
Last year they came 5th. They lost it to Tottenham.
I'm saying last year they had no European football. So I'm saying the year before, I think they came 10th. They came 9th or 10th. I think they came 10th. I think Leeds finished ahead of them in Leeds' first season up. I could be wrong.
I swear they still got Conference.
I'll tell you right now.
No, but this game's actually that's all. I guess this game's always more important for Tottenham, and in the sense of
They came 8th.
8th. We are trying to become, they are one of the top London clubs, but the top, right? They're always going to be underneath Chelsea and Arsenal's shadow type of way. So that's why this game's always more important for them. But this could be like the last, if they can beat Chelsea here, it's like Chelsea are reeling and they might not get Europe. And they might have to accept that. They have to accept that they probably won't win Champions League, even if they can turn the tie around against Dortmund and come through. And where do you go from here? Like, what's it? You like throughout the season, you have before the season, you have your preseason goals and what you expect. But as the season happens, as injury happens, certain results go a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, okay, you have to change your focus.
Yeah, for sure.
So if they get out of Champions League and lose this game, how should they play? They just say trust the process, like under Potter, it will become right, or do you panic?
That's just it. That's what I'm saying. It's a panic. It's a panic.
You only panic. Well, I would start looking at replacement managers. Seriously, I would try and think like serious top candidates that could take over. A big club with a lot of new personalities to be able to manage to get through this, because I don't think you would take it.
I don't think you would either.
But you would. That's the only reason I would fire Potter. I wouldn't go get another young,
Potter.
Promising.
Another Potter.
Like this is the experiment. So I understand what you're saying. Like this is the gamble you took. You have to stick to it.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't just be promised a job because you're expected to do great. Because you're young and you've done it with a lesser club, but this is a big club. There's bigger egos. You have to be a different type of manager to manage big egos. It works. Your style of play could work at Brighton because there is no big ego.
Yeah.
But now you're getting people getting paid 4 times the money, 5 times the money. Mm-hmm. So they think, I'm getting this much money, I need this much playing time. How do you say? It's hard to tell a player who thinks that. It's like, I've seen you a day in and day out in training, and you're not performing better than this guy or this guy. So that's why I'm starting this guy and this guy before you, even though you're making more money than this guy and this guy. You need a manager to be able to tell that to someone.
What he needs to do is that he needs to stick with a lineup for a set of matches. He's been chopping and changing every match. Every fucking match.
Because it hasn't been working.
Yeah, but you gotta let the team they think is the best run for a few matches. Start him 3 times in a row, please. I beg of you. Every time. Is it going to be Mudryk? Is it going to be Madueke?
Experience, though.
Yeah, and that's something he needs to change now. That's something he can change now. Okay. Now, so you got to give like 3 or 4 matches in a row. Same starting 11.
So end of March comes and they're still in this slump. Like,
chop it up again.
So how many chances do you give a manager like that? That's what I'm saying. They should seriously be starting to think of a manager, and I'm not joking.
They are. I think they are. I think they approached Poch. I think Poch said no.
Should just kept Tuchel or replaced Tuchel with Poch. Like
Mike, listen. I know. I get.
I said it was a mistake there.
I get the Tuchel thing it seemed a little early, but. Robert D. So this only regular. It's like, I got a game to go. I have a game to go to today. I really don't want to play. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Go. And then I was leaving like a score for me. He's texting me now. It's like, we won 3-1. I scored for you.
That's good.
Okay. But man, Chelsea were abysmal for not just the beginning of the season under Tuchel. like the end of it. And for a number of months, I think they had less home wins all season last year than Everton. Like there were some really bad stats, and they were playing fucking shambolic football.
They
Like
still came top four.
like spoon my eyes out.
They still came top four.
Buddy, you know what? There's still enough.
And that's a bad season for Tuchel.
Okay, okay, but the expectations were possibly to win that season.
Yes,
and they didn't even come close.
No,
they fell off in November, and that was it. And I know we're like really focused on Chelsea right now, and maybe we'll throw a scoreline out so we're not going too long on the Spurs match. Who the fuck knows where you're going with Spurs? Who knows?
Well, you know what you're getting out of Spurs.
No, you don't. That team is just like they're.
It's not attractive football. It's like the Juve of.
Yeah, well,
EPL
results wise, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Oh, result wise, but you know the style of play.
But you know what? They're also how bad are they against Chelsea? I think this is the real litmus test. How bad are they against Chelsea?
They are really bad
because they're at home and Chelsea is stinking it up. And is Chelsea going to pull something out here? I think they will.
You think so? I think the curse lives on.
I think they will. I'm going to go. I think they might shut them down. I'm going to 1-0 Chelsea.
I'm going 1-0. 1-0. This is, a big game for both, obviously, but they're both going to leave, saying we both should have won, even though it's going to be a bad game. I don't think it's going to be entertaining at all. I really don't. I hope.
I think yeah. It's one of those games where I think we both called it pretty. Oh no, I think I did. I don't know. Remember Chelsea Liverpool? I think I did 1-0 Chelsea on that one too. Yeah. It was 0-0. It was just none of these teams want to lose or give up points. And Chelsea scammed a fucking winner of that game. Or no, it was 0-0.
It was 0-0. I'm just happy Kepa got a clean sheet. I would prefer one this week, but
you're hanging. Mike's hanging. He's in there. I'm just bottom of the barrel, truly last.
2 bad weeks.
Okay. EFL Cup final.
How excited are you?
I'm excited. I'm fucking excited. I'm excited for Thursday. I'm excited for United again. I'm excited to watch them.
Are you that much more excited knowing that Pope's out?
Honestly,
I would be.
I am. It's a huge boost. I mean, Loris Karius is
redemption game. Is this the redemption game?
Would that be something? Liverpool fans Liverpool fans would forgive him maybe if he kept our trophy.
No, I don't think they would. But
I got paid.
I'm actually cheering for them. For him. It would be good for United. Good for Newcastle too. I really don't care who wins this because I'm glad that both these teams, one of these teams, will get a trophy. It's been a while.
Why isn't Pope listed as suspended? They didn't actually appeal this successfully.
Nah, well, he's definitely suspended.
He's suspended.
He's suspended. Even if they.
Why? That's just weird that he's not listed as suspended. Is it because there is an appeal going through?
I think it just probably hasn't been processed yet, but it should be actually. It's been the weekend. I don't really care. I'm glad that both these teams. It'd be a good story for both. Obviously, better for Newcastle, but I guess in the whole sense of football, it would just be money can buy happiness. Result, but it would have been a better game with Pope in.
Well, hey, listen, I'm not. I think the mentality has changed. I think back to the Europa League final against Villarreal under Ollie, super flat. We played just piss poor, and kind of lucky to even get to penalties in that match. I mean, Villarreal weren't looking for it either, but we should be winning that.
Yeah.
With Ten Hag, I think the players they fear and respect him, and I think
there's a passion they play for under him.
He even said, going into this month, building up to this final, February, shortest month of the year, we were playing 8 matches. They were only playing 4. And to me, that was kind of worrisome. We just kept rolling. And then I think after Leicester on the weekend, or maybe it was the build-up to Leicester, Ten Hag said, I think this is a good thing. We're playing in big matches. We have Barca on Thursday. Thankfully, we don't have to travel back from Spain for that. But even though it's only 3 days before, we're in the mindset of big matches. I think Newcastle hasn't really had much to play for lately, and they've been falling off as well. Gamerish back though.
Yeah.
You see that dip in form, it largely correlates with him.
Yeah.
So that's huge for them. There's been a lot of United talk, but I like it. So, I mean, imagine if fucking Loris Karius like steals the show. Imagine.
No, he won't.
I would I even be mad? Like
No, I wouldn't be mad. It's
I don't even think
story.
I wouldn't even be mad either. Like I'd be mad. I'd be disappointed we didn't win. But I mean, if we lose this final because that man stands on his head, I mean, you just throw your hands up at that point. You know, there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah, it's. I'm kind of just cheering for him to play well. If they wins, it's even better. But I want him to play well. But I do think Man United are more like not prepared for this game, but I think they're. I think
that is the word. I think we are more prepared for this match.
I think they're better prepared to handle the big moment.
Exactly.
It's just a good story for Newcastle. Just to get there, quick turnaround under How.
Yeah.
He had a rocky start as well, but managed to steady the tide. What you said, they had third most wins in 2022, or fourth most, and out of the, I think they did. I think they had the third or fourth most wins in the year of 2022
in the Prep.
Yeah. But
despite all their draws,
I think just United and Rashford are in too hot of form.
Mm-hmm.
I know they'll be traveling back midweek, or not traveling back, but recovering from a Thursday night game.
Mm-hmm.
That could be to Newcastle's advantage, but I think the Pope suspension, kind of just puts a little more doubt on that back line that's been pretty superb all year. The back four that, some of these shots might give up bigger rebounds, so we might have to close in a bit tighter. And if we press a bit tighter, it might create more room behind us for openings, where, Man U have been really good at just exploiting spaces and intricate passing under Ten Hag. So I think it might burn them. So I'm going to go 2-0 United.
I had 2-0 as well, but you know what? Fuck it, I'll go 3.
You're going 3?
Yeah, just to shake it up.
Just to be different. Are we seeing this?
I don't care. I don't care if we see it or not.
But he always does a serious face.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, even for Thursday, hopefully we get a boost for Anthony and Martial as well. Might be back, maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Anthony for this match though.
I'm not saying you do, but it's you want that option. You want that, especially with all the fixtures we're playing, man. We need that. We absolutely need that. Is there there's no European football next week. There's not even Europa League. It's just off.
Yeah.
And then Europa League does the round of 16 while those
second legs, yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Exciting stuff. Crazy stuff. Liverpool in the fucking mud.
And you love it.
I do love it.
And as you should be loving City slipping up, but you're more worried about City winning than Arsenal.
I know. United. I mean, at least
should be your time. City and Liverpool slipping up.
I know.
This should be your dream.
I don't hate it. I don't listen. If Arsenal wins, Arsenal wins. It's more the banter that's gonna kill me, not the financial. But at least United's hanging, but we have too much going on. But we're still hanging. If we can somehow pull something out of our ass, that'd be wild. The thing is that we don't play either of those teams anymore, right? So Liverpool, we got Liverpool in two Sundays. I think,
yeah, that should be a stroll in the park, right?
You never know when Liverpool's playing United. You never know. That's a ways down the road.
Yeah, but it's all right. Just do what Real did at Anfield. Shut them up. I guess you don't have Vinny, so it's harder to do that.
We have Rashford. We don't have Benzema. We have Weghorst. that's
CDM Weghorst.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Till next week.
See you guys. Can't do the.